everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sports Wrap. My name is Scott Morganroth, your host. And we are pleased to be joined by a very, very special guest. His name is Dennis Maruk, a legendary player for the Washington Capitals. Thanks for being on the show. Dennis, looking forward to having you more often, my friend. Dennis? Well, Dennis. Well, London, Ontario, London, England is what it is, man. All right, Mike?
I'll ask the questions. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm fine.
So tell me a little bit about this, Dennis. I believe, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that you played for 3 organizations and were never traded, right? Because you were drafted by the Seals, who then moved to Cleveland, and then you ended up part of the North Stars. But it was really the same organization, wasn't it?
Yes, they merged. Cleveland and Minnesota North Stars merged in 78. Yeah, 78, 79 season, and I was there for a few games, and then traded to Washington.
So when you were drafted by the Seals,
yes,
was Bill Torrey the GM?
No, the GM was Bill McCreary.
Oh, Bill McCreary. Okay.
And the president was Munson Campbell.
Munson Campbell. And then would Larry Patey have been there at that time, or was that before him?
Larry was there.
Larry was there, and
1 year, yeah, because we were there. I was only there for 1 year, yeah.
And then was the Cobra in goal? Gary Simmons?
Yeah, the old Cobra was in net, yes.
He was a beauty, wasn't he? Tell us about the Cobra.
Well, how much time you got to talk about Cobra?
I mean, a lot of time to talk about
well, I was just come out of junior, so I was 19, and he had the Cobra on his leg, he had the cowboy boots, the hat, the turquoise, and everything, and that was the first time I ever got to put on a pair of cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. But as a matter of fact, I almost fell down when I got them on because they were so slippery on the bottom. I didn't know how to walk on them. So, but that was how I got instituted with that young man. I called him young man at the time, and we still keep in touch by Facebook and that periodically. He's still riding his Harleys, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. But he was a great competitor, and that's the way it was. And we just didn't have a good team. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting. You had some really interesting guys that were on that team. I think Craig Patrick was on that team as well, right?
That was before.
That was before you? Okay.
That was before. Yeah. Mine was my first year and the last year they were in the league.
Okay.
75-76 season.
Now, did Charlie Finley still own the team?
No, he sold it to the Swig family, Mel Swig. Mel Swig was the owner in California who wanted to put it in San Francisco.
Okay.
And got voted against by the mayor there in the city, Mayor Moscone, who a year later got shot. A year after that, when they voted against it, he was Mel Swig was going to put a shopping mall on one side, and the BART was going to go right through, and the rink was going to be on the other side.
And that was the arena you played in was right next to the football stadium, right?
Yes, Coliseum, right next.
I mean, that must have been some crazy. Did you ever come across any of those old Oakland Raider guys like Ken?
Oh yeah. A couple games there was a Raiders football game, and then we played at 7:00. So I would go to the after the skating or something, and then go watch the Raiders game, and then come back. I lived in Hayward, California, and then come across to our stadium and get ready for a hockey game. But yeah, there was a guy that owned a pub downtown Oakland. It was called Al's, I think it was, and he had seats right behind our bench. And so he said the guy that scores the next goal gets a bottle of whiskey down at Al's. So you have to come down to his bar, but you go down there, and that's where you would meet the football players.
Right.
They would go there like Sistruck and Plunkett, Stabler, Blevnikov. I met a lot of those guys there. Yeah.
They had some crazy dudes on that team.
Oh, they were tough. They were good. I cheered for them. That was my, I didn't know much. I know about Canadian football, but the NFL was kind of like, and the team that I cheered for was the Raiders.
Right.
Because I lived there and I got involved with it and all that. So
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Dennis. I had a chance to cover a Raiders game with the
they were
Detroit
wild.
Lions.
There's no doubt about it.
I had a chance to cover the Detroit Lions and the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Coliseum
Okay,
was
I
an
don't hear
interesting
anybody.
place. Huh?
Scott, we can't hear you. He can't hear you.
You can't hear me now?
I can. All right, Candy. We got to figure it out on my end. I don't know what the deal is.
I'll take it from here, and Cody, you can jump in when you want to, since you're
All right.
Cody's on the West Coast, but he's down south. Dennis, he's down in Anaheim.
Okay, good.
Yeah. More closer to San Diego.
Yeah. So what was Oakland like as a hockey town? Because Oakland came in when they doubled the size of the NHL from 6 to 12 teams, right? And they came in the Flyers, the Kings, the Canucks, the Penguins, the Blues. I might be forgetting somebody.
North Stars.
North Stars, right. So the league went from 6 to 12 teams. And Oakland, of those 6 teams that came in the league, the Seals were the only one that actually aren't still in that market today. So what was hockey like in Oakland back in the late 60s and the early 70s?
Well, it was something. I had just come out of junior, so to play in the NHL was a big dream of mine. And growing up as a kid and watching Hockey Night in Canada, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and all the original 6 and all that. And so when I got drafted, I was kind of surprised that I didn't get drafted when I was 18 because I had some pretty good scoring statistics. But my problem was I was too small. They said I was too small to play in a big man's game. So that next year, I ended up getting drafted by the California Golden Seals on 21st pick overall. And when I got there, it was like, well, the weather was beautiful. We had training camp was in Oakland, was also in Portland, Oregon, and Salt Lake City. So I had some pretty good places to go to for training camp. And being in that area, being around Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose, and all that, and playing for the Seals, I got an opportunity to see a lot of things as a young lad. I spent a lot of time in San Jose. I spent time in San Francisco and of course Oakland, and I lived in Hayward. So I bought my first big car, my 1973 Corvette. I bought there, and I got stopped a few times on the Nimitz 17 by the police, and they knew who I was. They knew exactly because of my license plate, and they would just say, "Hey, slow down this time. Okay, we don't want to give you a ticket." So, it was just kind of one of those fun things where I go to the game practice in shorts and a t-shirt. Of course, in games you had to wear a suit, but it was I really, as a 19-year-old, I got to see a lot of things at that age that a lot of people don't ever get to see in their life, and spend time at Berkeley as well. But so Berkeley University, so it was quite an experience as my first year. The team, I had some pretty good success as a player, and first of all, I had to make the team.
Right.
That was the thing, that we were the first round pick, and myself, we were both 2 young guys, centermen on the team, and we both made the team, and went from there. So that was the first thing, and then once we get on the team, we just do our job and do what we're supposed to do, and we just didn't win. We didn't win a lot of games. We just didn't have enough compared to all the other teams.
Right.
Dennis, can you hear me?
But a lot of fun.
Dennis,
No,
can you hear me?
I don't think he can hear you, Candy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
So you come into the National Hockey League with Oakland, and then the team picks up a year later and goes to Cleveland. So what was that like? Because Cleveland had been a hockey town. They had teams in the past, right? And now it's an NFL team. And of course, this is right about the time that the Crusaders are coming in WHA.
We had, they had the American League team, but we had called it mistake on the lake. We had some pretty tough situations there where we play at Richfield Coliseum that sat about 22,000, and I think the most we ever got for one game was 13,000. That was a Montreal game. But they seemed to know the game, hockey, and all that in Cleveland, but it just didn't seem to go. The NHL. A lot of people I've talked to over the years, and they go, "You play for Cleveland? They weren't in the NHL, were they?" And I go, "Oh yeah, for 2 years." And so a lot of people didn't even know about it during that time, what was going on. But yeah, we didn't have. We had some pretty negative things happen, and as players and getting money and all that. We didn't get paid for a month, and then they told us the team was going to fold. And going from Oakland to Cleveland, two different towns, two different areas, and so it's kind of a sad thing, really. But it was still the NHL.
Right.
As a player, you're a professional hockey player, and you had to go do your job. You had a contract, and you had a job. You had your job to do, so you had to go. But it just didn't work out, and they told us it was going to fold, and we were going to be drafted by other teams. And those things, but it was just, and then finally they came up money, and we finished the rest of the season, and then that's when they merged with Cleveland, with Minnesota.
So was
Hey, so-
the Gunn family involved with the Barons, or did they come in when they were with the North Stars?
The George Gordon Gunn came in with the Barons, yeah.
So they were the owners in Cleveland, and
They came right after, yeah, exactly.
they were the owners again when they merged the team in Minnesota.
Yes, and then everything kind of blew up. They had kind of a trump card to get the San Jose team, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they all.
All right, hey, Mike, excuse me. Can you hear me now? Dennis, can you hear me now? Dennis.
I don't hear. Don't hear. Cutting in and out.
Well, we're cutting in and out. I mean, we re-logged on here, so I don't know what happened.
You hear me, but I don't hear anybody.
Scott, you'll have to just take this one out and listen. So,
well, I mean, hopefully we solve it tonight or tomorrow or whatever for next week. But all right.
So the Gunn brothers, Gordon and George,
right?
They were always thought to be like good owners. Would you say they were good owners? I know there was.
I don't know. It's hard to say. George kind of carried a bag around. We don't know if it was money or cigars. And Gordon was blind, of course. Gordon was blind. Very smart people that I know, and especially I don't know a lot more about George, but Gordon traveled. George went all over the place with his bag, and you had to almost stand like 2 inches away from George to hear what he had to say.
Yeah.
Very quiet man. When he was talking, and you really couldn't make out a lot of times what he was saying. But he liked his cigars. He liked his hockey. I think he had a place up in Utah or whatever, didn't he? A little rink up there, Salt Lake City, up in Utah somewhere. But and Gordon was in New Jersey, Princeton, I think, New Jersey.
Yes.
Doing that stuff, but they were gentlemen, real nice people. It was just a bad scenario that would happen and all that. And then they went on, of course, build that arena in Ohio, the basketball.
Yeah. Did they own the basketball team then when they owned
I believe so. Yeah. I think Gordon said, or I don't know, it was Gordon or George said at one time that if they would have knew professional sports was going to get to be like it went crazy, price wise and all that, they would have never got involved.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I know they owned the Cavaliers
right
up until the time LeBron James was drafted by the Cavaliers.
Right.
They still owned the team. But yeah, interesting guys. I had a chance to meet both of them several times, and you're right. George was a real quiet guy. You had to really listen intently to try to hear what he was saying.
Right.
I think they were also both, or at least George was really into art for some reason.
Yes.
He liked
Yes,
art.
George was. Yeah, Gordon. Yeah, Gordon. I think Gordon's still alive. Is that correct?
Yeah,
If
as
I'm
far
not
as
mistaken, George passed away. I know that, but I don't know if Gordon's still alive.
and Gordon was an amazing guy because, like you said, he was blind,
Yes.
but yet he'd go to games and he could
Oh,
tell you what went on just by listening to the game.
oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
he,
That's
he
why I said they're both real smart gentlemen. Yeah.
amazing guys. So then you go to Minnesota,
Right.
and what's that like? I mean, obviously that's hockey town, you know.
Well, you're talking about like I was there for 2 games.
You're only there for 2 games, so
I was told I was going to be traded in the summer
okay,
when the merge was going to happen because they were going to keep their centerman and they needed a left winger. Well, the trade, there was a few teams that wanted me, but nothing materialized, right?
yeah,
So Lou Nanny said, come to Minnesota. They're going to love you and all that. And my lawyer at the time was Al Nicholson.
yeah,
And he said, just go to Minnesota, rent a house. There's a few teams that are still interested in getting you for a first round pick. And I said, okay. And first 2 games I dressed, didn't hardly even play. And Harry Howell was the coach, and I knew right then there was something was up. And then that's when I got traded to Washington. Played 5 years in trade in Washington, 78 to 83, and then traded back to Minnesota in 83.
okay. So you go to Washington. Was David Poyle there yet?
No, David came out. Max McNabb was the general manager, and then David came after.
Okay.
I was there with
Can
David.
you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear
Dennis,
you.
can you hear me now? Dennis,
No.
you still can't hear me?
No.
Dennis can hear you.
So you go to the Capitals. Were you there for that famous initial season with the Capitals when they won like 7 games or something?
No, sorry, I got it. Excuse me. No, I had no. I came in no a little later, but our team was not the greatest. The other teams really did well, but we got better. We got stronger. We made a couple trades, and the big trade we made that really strengthened our defense and finally got into the playoffs was when they made that trade for Rod Langway, Ryan Ingram, Doug Jarvis, and Craig Loughlin, and we gave up Rick Green and Ryan Walter. That changed our team. Defensively, we had a real strong team, and we were able to get into the playoffs.
And that was David Poyle, right, at that time?
Right, yeah,
Because he came in as the young GM.
right.
And I mean, that obviously that had been a breath of fresh air for you to be in Washington, a place that was stable, that you really got a lot of ice time, right? And you were looked upon to score.
Well, I did have a few problems there in Washington that you probably didn't know about. We had to Save the Caps campaign, and the owner was Abe Poland, and he wasn't getting enough support from the city, so he was going to fold. He was going to fold the team until they ended up getting more season ticket holders and more money, and he held on to the team. But we had a Save the Caps campaign going on, and it was really tough because again, guys didn't know what was going on, where they were going, what was going to happen, and then all of a sudden, boom. And then things got better. We starting to play. Things got better as a hockey team, and now look at them. Oh my geez, what a change now.
Well, and then of course they moved the team downtown, which helps.
Right.
You were on Landover when they were playing out there. So, Cody, you'll be maybe you know this already, but Dennis is one of 4 players, NHL players, to score 60 goals. The other 3 are Gretzky, Lemieux, and Hill. So tell us about that season. You got 60 goals in the NHL. I mean, especially back in the 80s.
Googles.
Well, that was the year Mr. Gretzky had 92 goals, right, and 200 points. But to be in the
Continue.
top 10 in scoring in
Allow
that year
access.
with the big name guys
Browser's blocked
was an
your mic.
honor from this little guy who was told he was too small to play in the NHL and ended up getting to have 50 goal season as well as a 60 goal season. So to be in that elite group, it was pretty special. And I'll always remember that because I was fighting out second place in scoring with Mike Bossy, who ended up with 63, and I had 60.
Why is it blocked?
Now, what is that,
And
Ben?
try the other one.
Scott, can you mute yourself? Scott, can you mute? So you have a 50 goal season and a 60 goal season. The 60 goal season, was that when Boston scored 50 and 50?
Bossy did 50 and 50. I don't remember. I know. I think it was earlier he did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how about that? That's
Oh, he was a great goal scorer. There's no doubt about it. It was tough to we played against him a lot because we were in the same division, right?
right.
And his line with Brian Trache and Clark Gillies and Mike Bossy were
Actually,
so
want to
tough to
take
play
out
against.
one.
And he was so good.
Yep.
Well, here.
And they you don't change the lines
Go
like
on
that.
this,
They
go in the
just
other room.
keep them together. And look at the success they had. They won 2 Stanley Cups, and they were just a dominating line.
Yeah, that's Candy. All right, they're off.
Woo.
Are you okay, Cody?
Oh, and it's right in my, and I have the headphones straight in my ear. I'm like, oh, I'm dying here.
Dennis, you're lucky you can't hear Scott.
Oh man.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I mean that's when I thought, the NHL really picked up on rivalries again because they had the 4 divisions, and you played in that division with the Rangers, the Islanders, Philadelphia, right? I mean,
The Devils, yeah.
and the Devils. I mean, every night, you probably played them each about 8 times a year. And then you had to face one of them in the playoffs, right? And
Yeah.
maybe another just to get through.
I would say that at that time, and I don't know what compared to what it'd be the West this year, this time is that was the toughest division to play in with the Flyers, the Islanders, the Caps, New Jersey, and in New York. It was just it was a tough hockey. It was right. Every game was tough, and every game was important. But and then the teams were good. Teams are good. I would say maybe out the Western with Dallas and Colorado, and that may be a little bit similar. But other than that, no, nobody's even like the Washington, Philadelphia the way it is today. It's not like it was when we played. No.
And in that division, I mean, you played each other so much during the regular season, and then you had to get through them in the playoffs again. I mean, you knew everybody so well. What was the toughest building to play in?
What was the toughest city?
Yeah, toughest place.
Building. Well, at that time, it had to be the Flyers.
Yeah.
It had to be the Spectrum. Just the fans were kind of crazy as well. And the Nebraska State Bullies were a tough team, and you knew that when you're in there, you're going to be either getting into a fight or. When I was at Washington, we had a couple brawls, benches cleared and all that, and we had fans that would bust down to Philadelphia from Washington, and then Philadelphia when they played us in Landover, they'd have buses of fans come up there to watch. So it was quite the rivalry, but it was tough. It was really tough hockey, and as I say, it was survival hockey. There's no doubt about it. I had a target on my jersey because I would score goals against them.
Right.
Even though I played tough as a small guy in there, and I would always, score against them and all that. And sometimes I think once I had a hat trick in there, in the Spectrum, and they didn't like me. So, but I really worked hard on visiting buildings. I knew it was harder to win there and to be successful, so I had to push a little harder, and things worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, I'm back in the show. Can you guys hear me now on my phone?
I hear you.
What about you, Dennis?
I hear you. You got the fan going.
Yeah, oh my gosh. the miracles of doing some things. Thanks,
I
Mike.
got the
I'll
fan going.
tell
So that's a wrap on sports this week. We'll be
Oh yeah, right. Okay, but you know what we've learned here
You see a
today,
fan.
Dennis? I got a great pinch hitter, and now if I have to bring you on here, I'll definitely go ahead, Dennis,
Great.
and do it by the phone. How does that sound? Okay.
Everything's
So,
good.
all
Yeah.
right, let me get to a couple of topics. Anyways, although Mike has done an unbelievable job, I've
Yeah.
never seen a guy pinch hit at the last minute the way this guy has done. And the way you guys are unbelievable, I'd like to think I trained Mike Santos pretty well after all the time we've been doing this. My God, really? Seriously?
I only had one more question,
Go
Dennis.
ahead, do it.
So tell us a story about the mutton chops you used to have all the time.
The hot chops, the big Fu Manchu.
Yeah,
Well,
you had the best
I
mustache beard in the league for a while.
I did that. Well, as a matter of fact, I had hair when I was 13 and a mustache when I was 13. So, when I started growing a little bit more, and then I'm watching TV one night, and I see this guy on the mound, relief pitcher, going crazy. And he's going around the circle, back and around, and it's Al Hrabowski,
Yeah.
the mad Hungarian, and I'm Ukrainian, 100% Ukrainian. So I stuck with it, and that's kind of what gives you my tough look or whatever. I don't have it now; it's gray, and I got a little goatee. But other than that, that's how I stayed with it. Yeah.
That's great. The only other guy that came close to you for me was Mike Bullard. You remember Mike Bullard?
Bowlesy, yeah, Bowley, and then Lanny McDonald.
And Lanny, yeah.
Lanny had a nice one there. Then I was they say I was in the top three. So that's all right. That's okay.
Awesome.
Be included, it's great. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. Go ahead, Scott.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, Dennis, I've got something new to write in the book. Okay. You know what that is? My computer and my inability to go ahead and connect with you one way. We kept working hard. Now I'm doing it on my phone, and we get to get some of the topics. And our audience gets a treat because Mike Santos just walked in there, took my place, and did an unbelievable job. Folks, this show is for the ages, and this show is going into Lessons from the Microphone Part 2 as an experience that we'll never forget. And you know what I'm going to do, Dennis, when you come on in future weeks? I'm scrapping the damn computer, and I'm doing one on the phone, and that's with you, just because you and I are both doing the phone versions.
All
How
right.
does that
There you
sound?
go. That sounds
All right, well,
wonderful.
hey, listen, you know, technology isn't always great for everybody.
I
And
know.
when you're in a situation like I am, you do what you got to do. So let me get to some of the topics at hand.
Go
All
ahead.
right. And let's just talk about the trade deadline and the buyers and sellers. Anything surprise you about what you've seen over the last couple of days?
No, nothing surprising. I mean, I'm looking to see who's going to make a big deal. I mean, who's really going to come out with something big? I mean, really, the ones they made right now are kind of like they've been talked about and all that. But I'm looking forward to where you got some real big names players that I don't know. I haven't heard Kadri hasn't been traded yet, right?
Right.
Not
Right.
yet, no.
Kadri hasn't, and I'd be surprised if Toronto doesn't go after him. I like to see him back because he deserved to be there, and they need a guy like him. So that's. But when you look at some of the guys down, look at I think Colorado has strengthened their team a little bit, even though they've done really well. But then if you watch Colorado at some point, sometimes the games they won, they look terrible.
Right.
They look terrible, and anybody can beat. So, as I said earlier, I don't know if there's any one team that you can say, oh, they got a lock in to win the Stanley Cup. Even though Colorado's record is they've only lost 10 games, I don't consider them a lock in team, even though with their trades they made. So I could say maybe, Florida. It's too bad Florida. They've been injured. They've had an injured crew this year, and they had to get those guys all back, and they can get them into the playoffs. It's going to be tough for them. Bobrovsky, he hasn't had the greatest year, but he hasn't had the team in front of him like he's had over the last few years. Tampa, you never know. Mr. Cooper seems to get the best out of all his players, and they're doing pretty good.
Right.
So and then you look at some other teams that they expected. Look at Edmonton; they don't have a goalie. They need a goalie. Maybe they'll try and get Bobrovsky. I mean, I don't think that'll happen, but that would be a big thing for Edmonton. They need a goalie big time. That's the only way they're going to win. Um, so I don't know. You know, you look at some of the other teams. Carolina, they're another team that you can watch an odd night and go, oh boy, how come they're in first place? You know, so it's really. I don't think there's any one team that, except for the record of Colorado, that you could say, well, they're got a shoe in.
Well, the Detroit Red Wings so far have been quiet. Again, mind you, we have tomorrow yet.
I know.
And Steve Eiserman, who knows what he's doing. From what I hear, though, the sellers are asking a lot, and the buyers aren't quite ready to flinch. So I
No.
know there's still another day to go on this, Dennis. So what are your thoughts about the Red Wings? Anyways, do you think they're a player or two away, or you think he's just going to have to stay with his regular game plan?
It's been a while. It's been a while for them to come back. I mean, it's a surprising team and the list you got about Kevin Evans, but Buffalo,
Right.
Detroit, and they got a new coach, and the things have changed for them. They got a few different players and players that kind of seem to be gelling together, and they got a good goalie in Detroit, and Buffalo seems to be a team. And people are going like, "Wow, wait a minute here, they were so bad." They're at the beginning, all that, and now look at them. They're in second place fighting out with Detroit, and I think that's great for Buffalo. I would love to see Buffalo in there. You know, it's been a long time. It's nice to see some different teams. Florida, you know, Tampa, Edmonton, Colorado, all been in. I'd like to see some other teams that haven't won or have really fought hard over the years to try and rebuild their team and get in there. That's what I like to see.
Well, it's amazing how you bring up Buffalo because first of all, the Sabres fired Kevin Adams and they promoted James Kokalian as their new GM. So it
Right.
seems
I'll
like
kick a
to
line
me,
in.
Dennis and Mike, you can even add into it if you want to, that's been a game changer for the Sabres as they obviously look to snap their long playoff drought.
Yeah, you're right. That does make when you make a change like that, players kind of look at themselves in the mirror and say, "Hey, listen, they made a GM change. Guess who's next? Players. We don't pick up the slack, start playing better hockey for the new GM and all that. Lindsey Ruff's a good coach. There's no doubt about it. He's been there. He knows what it's all about. And they're getting some goaltending, and which they didn't have. They needed the goaltending, and they're getting that now. So there could be a kind of a dark horse team, but they need to pick up some players too. You know,
Mike,
they
anything
got
you want to add to that? And Cody, I know you've been relatively quiet. I'm going to try to get everything as I can in, but everything will be the rest of the way rapid fire. Mike, you did a whale of a job because you brought out the historical significance of what Dennis Maruk has done. But we'll go rapid fire with the rest of the topics, and there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Dennis, glad to have you on, and I'm glad I solved the Dennis Maruk problem through the cell phone. Oh
thank
my
you.
God, from one cell phone to another, and the things that you live and learn. Mike, go ahead and talk about the Buffalo, and I want to talk about the Panthers and Lightning in a little bit more detail.
Well, I think it's Dennis said it's too bad for Kevin Adams because this team that's winning in Buffalo right now is the same team that Kevin Adams put together. And
Right.
they haven't done anything to change it. Maybe if they went another week, Kevin Adams is still in his job, right? So it's really a shame. But I mean, winning, they say winning is contagious. And I think more than anything, when you're with an organization, I was with the Islanders for, a 10-year period where we didn't make the playoffs. And it just takes winning to sort of, teach the guys in the locker room how to do it. I think that's what's happened in Buffalo, right?
Yeah. You don't make as many changes when you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the changes are limited and for a certain position or whatever. But I think Buffalo, if they went on that road trip or whatever and lost every game and next thing you know. But look at the Bills. Look at the Bills. They fired their coach. Is it his fault that they didn't win the Super Bowl? Come on, they got a great team, and it just doesn't happen sometimes.
Yeah. And when it comes to trade deadline, Scott, I I always like to look at the teams that add pieces instead of going after the big star players. You know, a lot of the big star players, you acquire them, you rent them for a couple of months. You know, look at Jake Gensel a couple of years ago, and then you had Patrick Kane. You know, the year he went to the Rangers at the deadline. You know, these guys, they go there, they finish out. It never seems to get the team over the top.
Right.
And then they sign a big contract somewhere else where they want to go at the end of the year. I like the teams that add, you know, some depth to their defense,
Right.
that add that centerman that can win faceoffs, right? Those type of things that win playoff games for you, right?
Right.
And I think that's what I'm looking for in the next day here from Minnesota, the Wild,
Okay.
and from Dallas, because I think either one of those teams, Dennis said it about Colorado, they won a lot of games. They won a lot of games in the first half of the season. Now they're winning games, and you're like, they don't look real good doing it.
Right.
If they kind of settled into they were so far ahead that it's going to be hard for them to get out of that mode. And you got teams like Minnesota and Dallas that have been pretty solid most of the year. Dallas had a little losing streak there for a while, about a month ago. But those are the teams with GMs like Billy Guerin in Minnesota
Right.
and with Jim Nill in Dallas that'll add the right pieces, you know, to get that defense depth that you're going to need if you get to round 3 and 4. To add that centerman that can check the top guy on the other team, or they can win those faceoffs or kill those penalties. So I think that's what I'm looking for, and
I think that's I think that's what Colorado did when they got Kulak and
Right.
Roy. They got Roy as the centerman and checker. He's not a goal scorer, even though he had a good playoff last year. But I mean, he could fit the pieces as you're saying right there for Colorado.
Yeah, that's to me. If I had
Right.
somebody, and I agree with Dennis, everything's up in the air this year. But if I
Right.
had to pick a team, I'd pick one of those 3 right now.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
good point. Cody, anything you want to add real quick? I got a lot more things I want to get to, but we're on a roll. So that's good because there's a lot of big stories there. Dennis, I want to make sure you get involved in, okay? Can you hang with us a little bit here tonight? We're going to have a lot of fun and looking forward to having you back on. You seem to fit in really well with us, and we love having somebody like you on here to talk hockey. Cody, real quick, anything you want to add to this?
No, I completely agree with what Mike was
Can't hear
saying. God, I guess we're all having issues here.
I can hear you, Cody.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, so it's just Scott
Okay.
then. Okay.
Well,
No, I agree with what you were saying, Mike.
I'm not
Like
getting them.
the Vegas Golden Knights.
Still
You
not
know,
getting you, Cody. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm not on my phone.
So
can you hear Mike?
next week's show, we'll have Scott Morganroth as a guest.
Well, you know, it's funny the way it's working out. I'll probably do it from my iPad Pro. You know, one thing, Dennis, at least the one thing you don't have to worry about is all this technical stuff that us on the inside doing. But you know what? This is one of those shows that we're winning ugly. And I'm sure you've seen that many times in hockey, too. That's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. Let me get to some other topics as well, okay? And that's this. The Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning, there's no love lost between them because in a 6-game period, they had $191,000 in fines between the two. What are your thoughts about what's developed there in Florida between these two?
Well, it's a great rivalry, just like Montreal, Toronto. You know, it really is nice to see teams in Florida be that way. I know they both have won Stanley Cups, and I think that's as a fellow said earlier, winning is important to your team's success and all that. And you don't make too many changes, and that's what you look at Florida. They don't make many changes, have they? They've re-signed their guys. The problem they've had this year is injuries. And look at Stamkos; he may go back to Tampa. You know, I've heard that lately that he's going to go back. There's a possibility of him going back to Tampa. Wouldn't that be something to see him go back there? He's not doing. You know, he's starting to score lately in the last month or so in Nashville, but he doesn't belong there. He belongs in Tampa. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm really surprised that they let him go and didn't pay him whatever it was that he wanted, and Nashville paid him. But he's a Tampa. He's a Lightning, and I'd like to see him get back. But yeah, there's no love lost there. They'll do whatever they can to win the game, no matter who it is out there, to Chuck or Bennett or whatever. And then you got on the other side Hagel and Kucherov. I mean, they got some great players over there.
Right.
And you give them a power play, look out! Their power play is unbelievable. So if they get Stamkos back there, it's going to be even better. So and what's his name, the big V in net, Vasilevsky. I mean, he had an injury and he's back playing better than he normally what he was beginning. So that's what they need. So it's going to go right. It could go right down. They need to get in. Tampa looks like they're going to get in, but Florida is kind of a tough stretch. Yeah.
Mike, anything you want to add to this rivalry?
If you want to create a good rivalry, then let teams play each other in the playoffs.
True.
Before they changed the divisional alignment and the playoff system, 15 years ago, Florida and Tampa never played each other in the playoffs.
No.
But now it's almost every year that they meet. And that's what creates rivalries, right? We were talking about the old Patrick division, Dennis, with Washington and Philly and New Jersey,
Right.
and the Rangers. And well, every year when you see those guys and it's a best of 7 and everything's on the line, that's what something happens, and that's what creates the rivalries. And then when you return to play them again in the regular season, you don't forget what happened in the spring. So I think that's what's really creating these rivalries. I think it'll be very similar to like the Ducks and the Kings. Cody would say too. Let them play a best of 7 playoff round, and guess what? You'll have a rivalry.
Yeah.
No question. But let's keep going here. The Fenway is selling the Penguins to Hoffman family for about $1.7 billion. Fenway bought the Penguins for approximately $900 million in November 2021. I'll tell you one thing. Obviously, with Fenway selling to the Hoffman family, what are your thoughts about Dennis Fenway's involvement in the first place and the direction of where the Pittsburgh Penguins are going?
Good question. Pittsburgh to me is kind of a funny team. Crosby. When they hired what's his name, the GM from Toronto,
Dubas.
I call him Pee Wee Herman.
Carl Dubas.
I can't think of his name right now, but what he's done there in Pittsburgh hasn't really excited me. So I don't really follow Pittsburgh that much anymore, even though Crosby, I played Crosby and all that is a great player. They've had so many changes there. And it's just, they got an old team. I think they are one of the oldest teams in the league. They got Malkin, they got Letang, they got Crosby, Carl. I mean, something's got to change. Where's their young players? They got Rust is old. Rust. They got, so they've really got to look at getting into a young bunch of group of great players, where a lot of the other teams are doing, and they're gonna fall behind. Whoever buys them. That's fine. Mario's been involved, for a long period of time, and he's been just a great, what a great player, a great person, and all that. And he's done a lot of great things for the city of Pittsburgh. And I'm sure he'll be involved if they sell it. He'll be involved in some way, involved with the hockey department in some way, because you don't want to lose a guy like that.
Mike, any thoughts?
Fenway Sports Group buying the Penguins was silly. It was just a part of their portfolio. With the soccer team in the Premier League, with the Boston Red Sox, with their auto racing team and everything else, was just another piece of the portfolio.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Penguins, that's a small but loyal sports town, and they deserve local ownership more than anything else, and somebody who cares about them and is seen around the team. And that's not Fenway Sports Group. So no. I think it'll be better for them when the Hoffman family, even though the Hoffmans are originally from the Chicago area, I think having a single family that owns the team will be much better than the situation they've been in the last few years. And Dennis is right. I mean, if you're almost in the playoffs or almost out of the playoffs, you're nowhere. You might as well just go right to the bottom and start rebuilding it through the draft and build your team. Look at how San Jose's coming along now.
Right.
What they've done the last few years.
Well, it's amazing how we're talking a lot about Cleveland hockey. Okay, you talked about the Barons, so this is a great segue, Dennis and Mike and Cody. I'm glad you're able to just kind of watch a little bit and enjoy what we're doing, and hopefully next week we'll be able to get on track when Dennis returns. Okay, and so this is just a good learning experience for everybody involved. I can guarantee you, I probably age about 50 years on this broadcast, but I'm loving every second with Mike and Dennis. And I guarantee when Dennis, you become a regular member on this show, because you're going to help us take this show to a higher level. I hope you are. And when you get to Kissimmee, I understand that you like daiquiris. I understand that you like, what was the other one? What's it, daiquiris? Oh, come on, help me out, man.
Pina
Yeah,
coladas,
now,
right?
and
Yeah.
I get the margaritas. And Mike, if you want, you can meet Dennis and I. We go to Kissimmee. We can arrange a trip out there. How's that in the end to make it? If you're around here, all right? All three of us can take a ride.
Cody and I are switching to the soccer show next week.
Oh, as long as we got Dennis, we got to put the soccer show off for a little. We need Dennis for a while. What soccer show ain't going anywhere? I'll find another day if you guys are willing to cough up another day, and I'll put a soccer show on. Don't worry about that. I make room for everybody. You guys are my family, and at least I'm making it work off a cell phone. But
That's
next
right.
week it might be the iPad Pro. Then I can at least see a little bit better. All right, let's continue the theme of Cleveland hockey. And now I'm feeling better, Dennis, because I can hear you, and you can hear
All
me.
right.
That's even better. The Motor City Madhouse people. That's the hat. And Candy, do me a favor, nobody can see it. Put the book up anyways. That's what I wrote. And that's what Dennis and I are going to go out there and probably exchange. You got it up there, Candy? There you go, people.
Yeah.
Lessons from the microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. Yes, I wrote it. And guess what, people? It's on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes and Noble, and we got the audio version. Yes, put yours up, Dennis Maruk. And we're going to make that book exchange. Mike, you better make sure you're ready to hang out with us up in May, right? Okay, you ready? And Cody, if you can get a plane ticket down there, all four of us, I have a bunch of drinks. Although I'm the only one that have margaritas. All right, put it up again. Because you know what, Dennis? There's the thing. When you come on this cotton picking show, you're going to have that book and you're going to promote it whether you like it or not, because we like it. And I can't wait to get my copy, and I can't wait to give you my other copy. How's it going, Dennis? You ready to come back on more? I love you, my
Good.
man.
No
You're the
problem.
best. All right, let's continue the theme in Cleveland, because Cleveland was selected to host the 2027 All-Star Classic at Rocket Arena in the American Hockey League. The event is expected to generate multi-seven economic impact, All-Star competition, All-Star challenge, and a Hall of Fame induction ceremony. What are your thoughts about Cleveland being able to host an All-Star game in the American Hockey League, Dennis?
I think it's great. There's no doubt about it. I've heard a lot of good things since I've been in Cleveland, in the area over the years. So the American League American Hockey League is a real strong league, and to have an All-Star game and to have a lot of great festivities is great for the city. You got great music. I'm sure is going to be there, and a lot of exciting things are going to happen. So for 2027, I think it'd be great.
Mike, some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, all-star games now, they're not about the game, that's for sure, or even the other competition.
It's entertainment.
Yeah, but it's a chance to showcase the city, and the American Hockey League, as great as of a league as it is and has always been, it doesn't have a lot of big cities in that, and so to be able to have an all-star event in a big city like Cleveland, I think it's fantastic. It's for the league, but more importantly for Cleveland.
Right. Exactly.
Mike, the word I liked when you talked about the Fenway thing was the word portfolio, because that's all that really was for Fenway and John Henry anyways. Obviously, you're quite familiar with that market anyways. I just thought I'd add that in. Let's go to the Toronto Maple Leafs people, because they're struggling to sell out home games at Scotiabank Arena. They sold out 6 of their first 20 home games with an average attendance sitting at 18,607, on pace to be the lowest in Scotiabank Arena history outside of the pandemic history. You know what? I'll tell you, Mike, I'll lead it off with you and I'll turn it over to Dennis. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, look, I mean, as much as it pains me to say this, Toronto is the premier hockey city in the world.
Right.
And that team has been disappointing its fans for more than a half a century. and they're as aimless now as they've been for the last 50 years. And so you combine the lack of success and the frustration of the fan base with the price of tickets in that city, and it doesn't surprise me that eventually people are starting to stay home and not pay that kind of money to go see what the product is they're putting out. So they need another change, unfortunately, at the top, and they're going to get it. It looks like at the end of the season, and then they're another one that probably needs to go to the bottom and draft well and have a plan to put a team together. And I think if they do that, Toronto hockey fans are smart hockey fans, and they'll understand that there at least is a plan and a process in place. And I think in the long run they'll be okay.
Long run. How much longer can you wait?
One team I look to is the Boston Bruins went through this situation the year they finished last overall and they drafted Joe Thornton. Now they eventually traded Joe Thornton, but they went to the bottom and they started to build their team up, and then eventually got to a point where they could sign a few free agents and they brought in a guy like Achara and they built a winning team. I think the Leafs can do the same thing, but not the way their roster exists right now.
Yeah, but here's where I have a problem, okay? We've wasted the career of Austin Matthews over in that cotton picking mess there. You had the number one pick, and this guy, unfortunately, all he has is a championship as a gold medal. That's the thing. All right, Dennis, pick up the narrative from there. Mike, unless there's something else that you wanted to add.
Well, I think the whole thing that their first mistake, the Toronto Maple Leafs did, was let go of Mitch Marner.
Okay,
that was their first mistake, and you don't replace a player like that on a hockey team. It's very hard. What he did, not only 5-on-5, killing penalties, power play. I mean, he pretty much Austin Matthews can shoot, but he made Austin Matthews as far as I'm concerned, because he's a great. Mitch would set him up a lot more than other players would, and they don't have that. Austin Matthews gone through the whole lineup of forwards, and it hasn't worked. So you kind of look at, oh well, maybe we should have signed Marner for his $13 million or whatever hell he wanted.
Right.
But I mean, that's the first thing. Now there's talk of you might as well just sit at home and watch on TV. There's no sense going to the game. Prices are so high, and the way they're playing. There's the situation. Do they trade Matthews? Do they trade Riley? Right. I think Riley's the one that should be out the door, but he's got a no movement clause in his contract as well. That's the one thing that I don't like about the sports today, and that these players they make all the calls. They make all the calls. What do you mean? If you're playing terrible, if I'm going to trade you, you can't tell me who I trade you to. I make the best deal. I'm the GM. I'm the coach. I make the best deal for our team. If you're not putting up your socks and doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're getting paid $6-7 million, and you're not doing your job. Hey, listen, I can trade you whoever I want to. I don't like that. I don't like the no movement clause where you get select 10 teams or nobody or whatever. I'll let you know who you trade me to. I don't buy that. I never have and never will.
Well, hey, Dennis, can I ask you a quick question? You're going to learn something here tonight, ready? Other than the fact that I know what your drink taste is. You know what GMTA stands for?
GMTA?
Yeah.
No. GM.
Great minds think alike. Get used to it.
Great minds think alike. All right.
So, because here's what's going to happen, Dennis. You come on next Thursday night, and I'm going to quiz you on it.
All right.
But here's what I'm going to do, Dennis, under the following condition. You've got to give me a thumbs up when I go ahead and send you a text. What does GMTA stand for? Great minds think alike. So when you come on this show, and I'm using an iPad Pro instead of an iPhone 17, which will probably be an 18 next year, and I'll probably raise my phone bill. Won't matter. It's going to have a bigger screen to go with my 4 eyes anyhow. Then I'm going to quiz you on it next week.
Well, you could say great men think alike, too.
Yeah. Oh, look at this guy. He's schooling me now. All right, great stuff.
Great men.
There's two things I'd like to ask Dennis regarding.
Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, is I thought they lost a lot of leadership when they took the captaincy away from July. You don't have to be the leading scorer or the best player on the team to be the leader of the team. And I thought they lost a lot. And good for Tavares for being gracious enough to let them take the captaincy away. That was one thing. And the second thing for the future is I think you're going to get new management. And a couple of years down the road, I think you're going to see Connor McDavid sign with the Leafs.
Hey, that could happen, and there's no doubt about it. Depend who's going to be running the team. There's even talk today or yesterday's paper that Dale and Mark Hunter are going to go after and run Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't think that'll ever happen. They make too much money in junior. They don't need to. They don't need to go for that headache. But things are going pretty good for them with the London Knights, so they don't need to do that. Um, yes, Tavares should be still the captain. Um, he even took pay cut, all that kind of stuff to stay as he wanted to play for Toronto. Matthews is not a captain. Matthews leads on the ice. I don't think he's a captain in the dressing room where Tavares has a lot more experience with that. But a lot of teams are going with younger captains. A lot of teams are. So when you start seeing some teams do it, all of a sudden now they're going to go, well, Matthews should be the captain, right? And you look at all the other teams, they're doing the same thing. Is it right to do that? Well, in the way the game is going, yes, because they're all young. They're all in the 20s, right? Early 20s. And 18, 19. So I don't know. I don't know. Was that the right thing to do? I agree a little bit that Tavares should be still the captain.
Go ahead, Mike. Another question for him.
No, the other one was I just said that it was more of a comment. I would
About
not
Marner, yeah.
surprise
Okay, so
if David sign with the Leafs in a couple of years.
So, Dennis, here's what I do once in a while on these shows. I try to take the attention off of the sport, and I'm going to hit you with a non-sports topic because life is about sports and non-sports. But I'm making this one easy for you compared to some of the other people I do. So, you ready for this, Dennis? This will be fun. We're talking about booze already between daiquiris and what was pina coladas and all that business, right? And now we're talking about me liking margaritas. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it real easy, Dennis. And when you come on these shows, I'm going to come up with the most off-the-wall non-sports topic. And if you don't laugh, I'll shave off my head. Although if you don't laugh, I may be bald before next week's show anyways. But again, this is how much fun Mike and I and Cody have when we're doing this stuff. So you ready for the first non-sports topic and Dennis Maruk history on sports rap? You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, go ahead. Non-sports topic. A study finds American bread has over 30 ingredients. Okay, in it, Italian bread has 4. American bread has preservatives, sweeteners, and additives. Italian bread has flour, yeast, water, and salt. Ever thought you'd ever go on a show where we're talking about Italian and American bread? What do you think
No.
about that observation?
I love bread. There's no
Oh,
doubt
do you?
about it. Yeah, but I can't eat too much because I'm a type 2 diabetic. So
Okay.
and I do like my bread with my soups and salads and all that. But the Italian breads are pretty damn good.
All right, Mike, what do you think?
So my roots are in Portugal. I go to Portugal every other year about, and I can say that the bread in Portugal is much better than the bread you get in the United States.
There
It's
you
no preservatives, it's fresh, and when you go even to the grocery store over there to buy a loaf of bread, you buy a loaf of bread right off the rack and you grab the bread. You don't grab it in a plastic wrapper or any of the other stuff that they do over
go.
here.
Right there on the rack.
Yep, it's just like the old days.
All right, just the breaking news. Detroit acquires a veteran winger from the Senators. And so, Mike, go ahead and look that up. I don't have the ability to do that here. But anyways, so we'll have to try to get that information. Maybe
It's David
Candy can go
Perron.
out there and put it on the screen or something because she's our regular researcher as well. But Mike, with the amount of marathons you run, it wouldn't matter what type of bread you eat because you burn them off every time you're running one anyways. So I don't know, but I just figured we'd throw a little bit of dough your way, even though it's not money that we're talking about. All right, let's continue on the hockey theme. Again, Dennis, I like to break up the monotony a little bit, and that's
That's
what we
good.
do every
That's
once
good.
in a while.
Right. That's
We
good.
got about a few more topics. Can you hang with us a little bit longer? Not a
Yeah.
whole lot more. Okay,
Okay.
good. Okay, so Calgary is in the running to host the 2028 World Cup of Hockey, and Scotia Place, the Flames' new arena, is expected to be ready for the 27-28 season. What are your thoughts about Calgary getting to 2028 World Cup?
I think Calgary and Edmonton are trying to team up for that, aren't they? And
Probably.
I think it'd be great. I think Calgary's a great city. Edmonton's a good city. So I think with that new rink coming in, it'd be just wonderful. Yeah, I believe that the people in Cal they love their hockey and they love their sports, and I think it'd be just great for the 28 World Cup.
Now, Sandal Dome had a great history, but I'm glad that Calgary's modernizing. Any quick rapid fire thoughts on that? A few more topics to go. Dennis has been great all again. And this has been like two shows. Mike talking about old time, and now my ability to bring it in a little bit with some of these topics. Go ahead, Mike, real quickly with a few more topics to go. Fire up his next after sports wrap.
I agree with Dennis, and especially for something like the World Cup, which is going to be, held before the season, I'm guessing, like they've done in the past.
Right.
You can't go wrong with holding any of these events in Canadian cities, and particularly, Montreal and Toronto always seem to get to host these types of events. I think Calgary is a great spot. They're going to have a new arena, and if you want to sell tickets and interest in hockey in August and early September, that's the place to go.
Okay, let's go to the Olympics. Bruins, obviously, Charlie McAvoy was coached by his father-in-law, Mike Sullivan. How did you like that? Was that a pretty touching situation, Mike?
No, I didn't really care, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, that wasn't touching for you. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Dennis? Father
Well,
coaching.
anytime you can have family like that, I think it's special. Makes it a special treat or event. Win, lose or draw. I think it's kind of nice to have that in the family. Does it make any difference of how he coaches the player or how the player plays for the coach? No, they're professionals, and I think it's kind of nice to see.
Dennis,
Well,
I
it'll
have,
be good in.
I
I think
have,
it'll be good in holiday events and all that business later down the road when they can reflect on the gold medal at least.
yeah,
Providing that they stay married. Great stuff. Okay.
Dennis, I have to tell you why I responded that way. So
Okay.
I played my hockey at Boston College,
Oh,
and Sully and his son-in-law McElroy are Boston University guys. So
Oh,
there you go. Okay, but on Boston College, my daughter lives in Natick,
oh really?
and her husband is the right hand man of the athletic director. His name's Craig Anderson.
Yeah, there you
Craig
go.
Anderson, yeah. So he's in. They were in Miami, and then they got hired in Boston.
Yeah. So your daughter's a Natick, huh? That's
Yeah, with Doug Flutie. Yeah.
right.
absolutely, really. No.
Well,
Wow.
you're a BC guy at heart then.
I have to be a BC guy. Yeah, yeah. I have to be. Yeah.
All right. A couple more topics I want to get to. First of all, Mike, give me your Olympic takeaways. It's congratulations to the United States that won the gold medal. Anything you want to add to that?
No. Oh.
Huh?
I mean,
To hire someone to say boo.
Oh, okay.
I think it all worked out the way they wanted it to. I mean, let's face it, the reason why the NHL players are in the Olympics is to boost the profile of hockey.
Okay.
Not
What about
only
you,
around
Dennis?
the world, but particularly to boost the profile of NHL hockey. And so, with the Russians not being involved in these games, this is exactly what they wanted. They wanted a Canada-U.S. final. They got it. Just like the gold medal game in Vancouver when Crosby scored in overtime, this time it went the other way. I wasn't a big fan of 3-on-3 hockey to decide a gold medal. I don't think that's the right way to do things. But
But they had a time. They had a time thing. I believe they had to get it. That's the only way to get it over in a hurry is 3-on-3 because they had the closing ceremonies, right, and everything. So I agree 100% with you there. It was a great game. There's no doubt about it. I have friends on the U.S. side, and I have grandkids that are living in the United States that play hockey. So it was kind of nice. It was a good game, and it could have went either way. There's no doubt about it. Someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose. So it is nice, and it's nice for the girls. both the girls, Canadian and U.S. had, right down to the last 2 minutes, and the next thing you know, boom. So it was
Well, it's
quite
funny.
exciting for hockey. Yeah.
It's funny how you guys have a segue about the Russians because that was my next topic. Great minds think alike. You're getting it twice, Dennis. Okay, Russia obviously wasn't eligible for the Olympics, but okay, was it really a big deal that they were not there, considering that I don't know if they were there before? Mike,
Do you want
lead
me?
off with that.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
I think if the Russians have a team there, they win it. I
Do
mean,
you?
anything can happen, but I think just purely looking at the type of talent they can put on, including, I mean, they could have played a different goalie every period throughout the tournament with Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky and
Right.
Sorokin.
They could have two teams.
yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, was it disappointing as purely as a hockey fan to not have them there? Yeah, they would have been a great team to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. They have so many great hockey players. I played for Team Canada in the World Championships, and I got to play against Tretiak and the top Russian guys. I did get to score against Tretiak, which was kind of nice. But these guys are unbelievable how they play, and the only question I have for them is they become too individual. They don't play as a team, and I think that could hurt the Russians.
Well, amazing how you bring up Vladislav Tretiak. You want to talk about the biggest what-if stories in hockey history. Can you imagine what he would have been like in the National Hockey League? Because we all know that back in 1972, we didn't hear about him, but then all of a sudden, I mean, you bring up a great point, Dennis. You really, really do. A what-if story if Vladislav Tretiak would have played in the NHL. Do you ever often think about that once in a while?
No, he was a great competitor, a great goalie. I mean, but then you got to look at international hockey is a little different than the National Hockey League. Yeah. Then you look at a guy like Jim Craig,
Right.
who winning goalie for the American team, 1980. I played with Neil Bratton in Minnesota and all that. Jim Craig didn't play a lot in the NHL.
Right.
Didn't make it. Didn't play a lot. So a lot of times things just aren't going to work out, and it may be a Tretiak might not have worked out playing in the National Hockey League, like same situation with Jim Craig.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, they were, especially back in those days, Dennis would know this, they were built for tournaments.
Yeah.
They
Right.
weren't
Okay.
built for the grind of a National Hockey League season of, flying to Minnesota tonight and then playing in LA in 2 days and playing that many games, first of all, and then a playoff. I remember when I was with the Islanders, as soon as we get eliminated from the playoffs, all the European guys would run to the payphone to get their flight home.
Yeah.
And they didn't, and for years, many of them didn't even really care about the playoffs because they just didn't see it as they were getting paid. They would rather go home and play the World Championships because they came to the NHL, at least in the early years, a lot of them, because they got paid more money. And when the season was over, unless you advanced, a few rounds in the playoffs, which took a month or 2 months to get there, they didn't get a lot of money for that. So it wasn't a big thing. But the Russian teams of the 70s, especially the 70s, and even into the 80s, they were built for the World Championships, the Olympics. Yeah. They practiced and they trained, like Dennis said, much more than professional players did in North America, and they practiced together. So when you went as a North American team, whether it was Canada, U.S., to a World Championship or an Olympics, you were usually thrown together for a few weeks, and they had been training all year.
Okay, one other note I want to pass along just recently happened. We want to say our rest in peace to legendary Vancouver Canucks broadcaster Jim Robson, who passed away at the age of 91. Mike, some thoughts about the legendary Vancouver Canucks broadcaster?
I mean, somebody who grew up in the United States, I did not hear him as much as, probably I would have liked to. And especially the other thing was, he was out west,
right,
in Vancouver. So, I mean, what I knew about him was he was a terrific guy. And when I did hear him, he did a terrific job and obviously loved the game and loved his Canucks. It's too bad that he never got a chance to see his Canucks win a title.
What about you, Dennis? You know much
Yeah,
about
he
him?
was what 91. So yeah, great. I think I was interviewed a few times with him, and
Right.
I've always
Okay.
always knew that he's just a straightforward guy, just a gem to talk to and all that. And I just heard a lot of good things about him. What's his name? A friend of mine, not a friend, I'm over the years, but Johnny Garrett.
Yeah.
Johnny Garrett, who does the color for the Vancouver Canucks, who just I think retired. As a matter of fact, I've been there for so many years, 20 plus years, and they work well together as well. So I heard some good stories from Johnny.
Well, you hate to see a lot of these legendary broadcasters go, but you know what? When you live to the age of 91, guess what?
Right.
I'd
Yeah.
say he did pretty well. All right. Well, I'm glad we were able to. Mike and I were definitely co-hosting in this show. Mike gave you one version, which was outstanding, and I was able to bring in another. And you know what? This is just one of the most amazing shows I've ever done. I'll go ahead and, with a couple promotions. What you can do is with Cody Spinku, you can go ahead and follow his YouTube channel at Royally Quack. Does a great job talking about the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings. So at Royally Quack, please subscribe to that. Our show can be heard on YouTube. And also, if you're looking to do the audio version, we're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever you can get your podcasts as well. The South Florida Tribune, you want to go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Mike, obviously, will give a little bit of information about, well, yes, you have lessons from the microphone, tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. You get my book, Dennis. Put your book up again, my friend, and we're looking forward to getting it up next week and every week we can. Dennis Maruk, man, it's out there. Dennis is going to be able to flash that bad boy up every time he comes on. You talk about a guy who we really enjoyed having. This guy got to see do different shows. And I'll
That's
tell you
all
what, Dennis, you got to see something most people didn't get to do. You got to
right.
see Santos and I. And what are your thoughts about your first show with us?
Very good job. Great job, guys. Yeah. Two shows.
Well,
Yeah, one, two
so
shows. I got
you
three
think
on
we
two
could?
shows. Yeah, everything worked out great. No problem. Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
So can we convince you to come on and join us and talk hockey?
Well, that's what you want. I can talk anything. Yeah, you go right ahead.
Beautiful. Well, guess what, Mike and Cody? I hate to break your heart, but soccer can wait because we got Dennis to solidify this. And maybe we'll throw a soccer story in here once in a while just to break up the monotony. No, he's giving me a fit. Forget it. Cody, we'll get the soccer stuff in. Find it another night,
Gotta
Mike.
do the soccer. Okay?
I'm waiting for my invite to appear on Royally Quack. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I am too. I'm waiting for my invite too, Cody. You've been with me. I'm waiting for. Hey, listen, I got a book to promote in the West Coast, and just so you know, Cody, I'm a member of the Southern California Sports Broadcasters as well. Just in case you want to know, Mike, hockey operations. Let them know about it. And I know, and I know Dennis is very polite to go work through us with these challenges. I'll do my best by next week, knowing you have a cell phone, how to modify my act on your end to make sure it goes smoother. But Mike, I'll tell you what, though, Mike did a heck of a job, and I'm just glad I was able to get on here and bring this other stuff in. I'll have other carryover topics that we could get into, but we got just about everything we needed to get in. Great first deck by Dennis Maruk, a legendary player and a very patient individual for sure. And I'm proud of Dennis, and my goodness, Mike, Hockey Operations LLC. Fire Up is next. Andy Ebling will be hosting. Go ahead, Mike.
No, great to have Dennis on, and looking forward to the next show.
My pleasure. My pleasure too, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
All
Anytime.
right.
Lots of stories.
All right,
Yeah.
so Fire Up is next. On behalf of Mike Santos, Dennis Maruk, Cody, excuse me, Cody Spink. My name is Scott Morgan, Roth, the Motor City Manmouth. Thank you for joining us. Fire Up is next. I call it the Country Club. Candy will have her group. And I'll tell you what, we have the makings of what we call the Dream Team. Mike Santos, Dennis Maruk. I don't know if I'm the Dream Team. I'm just here to, but I feel like I am with this group. So,
Oh yeah.
and Cody, we have a couple of authors in there. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next Thursday night at 8 o'clock PS Eastern Time. Myself, Mike, Dennis, and Cody. And I promise you, this is the show I will never forget because it's going to be in the next book. I promise you that. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Join Fire Up next. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.